Today we're going to discuss the way that interest groups go about getting things done. And we're going to look at several of the tactics that interest groups use to raise awareness for their issues and to achieve their ultimate goal, which is to change public policy to benefit their members. So we're going to start with the media. When the interest groups use the media, they're using television, radio, other forms of communication to get their ideas out there. They're trying to get awareness. Environmental groups like to use this to draw attention to their causes. You see the Christian Coalition putting its members out onto news programs, all trying to promote their causes and put pressure on the government through the media. Next, you've got boycotting. This is a popular tactic for your non-traditional protest groups that we talked about the other day. The NAACP will use a boycott when a company or a celebrity that is employed by a news outlet, when someone like that uses racially charged language, or they feel that an injustice has been done, or there are discriminatory practices, the NAACP will call for a boycott of that business entity and call for its members not to use their services. Another popular form of interest group tactics is litigation. This is bringing lawsuits, so using the court system to try to change policy. This is a critical tool for interest groups who might not have the popular majority. So I'm thinking about the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s, when they couldn't get popular votes behind them. They couldn't go through and desegregate schools through an election. The NAACP used litigation and lawsuits to go about desegregating the schools. And that's how the Brown v. Board of Education decision came down that called for desegregated schools. Because remember, it's easier to get 5 justices, which is the majority you need to get anything past the Supreme Court. It's easier to get 5 justices to agree with you than 51% of the population in an area. You're seeing that same thing happen today with the fight over gay marriage. In some states like California passed Prop 8, which bans gay marriage, so the majority of Californians at the time in 2008 were against gay marriage. But now you're seeing that litigation bring that to the justice system, and we'll see if a few justices agree with the proponents of gay marriage. Now, keeping it in the court system, you have amicus curiae briefs. These are legal documents that are submitted during a court case by people that are not directly involved in the case. You see interest groups jump in when someone's rights are being denied that they feel is important to their group. The NRA uses amicus curiae briefs if someone is challenging a law based on gun rights, or you see abortion rights groups and Planned Parenthood jumping into abortion cases all the time. So that what they do is, this is a way to lobby the courts in essence. They're submitting legal documents supporting a side of the case that they feel will benefit them. Another tool that interest groups use is campaign contributions. They give money to candidates they believe will support their causes and hope that that gives them access to those elected officials once they're in office. They also endorse candidates that they believe in. You will see groups like the NRA put out information to their members saying, we support these candidates. Unions do that all the time. The California Teachers Association always puts out a listing of endorsed candidates so that their members know these are the people that we support. On the flip side, they target candidates. They go after candidates that they want to make sure are no longer in office. So they'll go after candidates that maybe are passing laws or espousing ideas that they do not believe in. Now, another thing that interest groups do is lobbying. They go and meet directly with elected officials, trying to get their opinions heard, trying to get changes in public policy. We'll look at lobbying in a little bit more detail later on in the course. Interest groups also use the initiative, referendum, and recall process in many states. The initiatives especially, getting something on the ballot, putting it directly before the people, and then using the other tactics of the media and campaigns and rallies and protests, trying to get their point across, get their voices heard. You see interest groups use the media, or use initiatives to try to change policy directly. And then finally, mass mailings. Interest groups are using the mail all the time, trying to communicate with their members. They'll do that through flyers, through informational brochures, solicitations for money, or magazines. All these things are meant to keep communication up, the lines of communication up, open with their members, and always have them ready and willing to be called to action. So these are just a few of the tactics interest groups use.